An astronaut's body failed before the systems did. The first warning didn't come from an alarm. It came from the body. Everything on board was functioning perfectly. Power stable. Systems nominal. The spacecraft did exactly what was designed to do. Every instrument reported within expected parameters. Every subsystem operated as intended. The engineering was flawless. The human inside it did not. To understand why this moment still matters today, we need to understand a dangerous assumption in spaceflight, that technology fails before people do. In reality, the body is often the weakest system. Spacecraft are built with redundancy, with backup systems layered upon backup systems, designed to absorb failure and continue operating. The human body has no such architecture. It is singular, irreplaceable, and far more susceptible to the stresses of space than any component bolted to the hull. The mission was routine, demanding but controlled. The astronaut followed procedures, moving methodically through tasks practiced countless times on Earth. The rhythm of work in microgravity had become familiar over the course of the mission. Each task had a known duration, a known sequence, a known physical demand. Nothing about the schedule exceeded what the astronaut had trained for. Then came the subtle signs, slower reactions, heavier limbs, a strain that didn't match the workload. The kind of sensations that arrive without announcement, not pain, exactly, but a heaviness that doesn't correspond to effort. The astronaut noticed that movements which had been automatic now required conscious direction. The astronaut checked the data. Everything looked fine. That was the problem. The systems were ready. The body was not. And the gap between those two realities was about to become dangerous. At first, the symptoms were easy to rationalize. Fatigue, dehydration, normal strain from long hours in microgravity. Nothing outside expected limits. The human mind is skilled at explaining away early warnings, especially when those warnings contradict what the instruments say. If the data reports normalcy, the temptation is to override the body's signals and trust the machines. But the body does not report to the same dashboard as the spacecraft. Its warnings are subjective, nuanced, and easy to dismiss. The astronaut adjusted pace, slowed movements, focused on breathing. Training emphasized pushing through discomfort, trusting systems to flag real danger. The culture of spaceflight values endurance. It rewards the ability to perform under strain. Admitting difficulty feels like a concession, even when it is the most rational response available. But the body sent different signals. Dizziness that lingered, a tightening in the chest, a subtle delay between thought and action. These were not dramatic symptoms. They were incremental. Each one alone was manageable. Together, they formed a pattern that pointed toward a system, the human system, approaching its limit. The astronaut paused, rechecked vitals. Heart rate elevated, but not alarming. Oxygen levels normal. No system indicated immediate risk. The medical telemetry painted a picture of a person within acceptable range. But acceptable range does not account for the subjective experience of the person inside that range. The numbers said continue. The body said reconsider. This was the problem with human failure. It rarely arrives with clear thresholds. Machines fail in binary. A circuit works or it doesn't. A valve opens or it doesn't. The body degrades in gradients. It loses capacity slowly, through accumulation, through compound strain that builds beneath the level of measurable alarm. By the time the instruments confirm what the body already knows, the situation may have already become serious. The astronaut faced a quiet dilemma: continue the task and risk worsening symptoms, or interrupt operations based on instinct alone. The decision was not between safety and danger in any obvious sense. It was between two versions of duty. One version said complete the task because the mission depends on reliability. The other said stop because the mission also depends on a functioning crew member. Reporting uncertainty felt premature. Stopping felt unjustified. The mission depended on reliability, not hesitation. The astronaut knew that pausing operations would trigger a chain of events: medical consultations, schedule adjustments, possible reassignment of tasks. All of that felt disproportionate to what might still be temporary discomfort. So the astronaut continued, and with every minute, the body pushed back harder. The strain reached a point where it could no longer be ignored. Movements became deliberate, not by choice but necessity. Fine motor control faltered. Simple actions required concentration that should have been automatic. The gap between intention and execution widened. The astronaut felt the body operating on diminishing reserves, each task consuming more energy than it should. The astronaut recognized a danger instantly. In space, hesitation compounds risk. Physical impairment can cascade faster than technical failure. A hand that cannot grip precisely is a hand that cannot operate emergency controls. A mind clouded by physical strain is a mind that cannot assess threats accurately. The body's failure was not contained to the body. It threatened to spread into every system the astronaut was responsible for managing. They stopped. Tasks were aborted. The schedule was broken. Ground control was notified with measured clarity. Not panic, not apology, just fact. The astronaut communicated the situation with the same professional discipline applied to any system anomaly. The body had become the anomaly, and it required the same response any failing system would receive. Medical protocols engaged. Workloads reduced. Rest enforced. Monitoring intensified. The systems adapted quickly. The mission structure bent around the new constraint, absorbing the disruption the way it was designed to absorb any unexpected variable. The body needed time the mission had not planned for. Lying still inside the spacecraft, the astronaut confronted an uncomfortable truth. Training had taught endurance. Space demanded self-awareness. The two are not the same. Endurance says push forward regardless. Self-awareness says recognize when pushing forward becomes a greater risk. In the culture of spaceflight, endurance is celebrated. Self-awareness is respected only in retrospect, only after it has been proven correct. Pushing through would not prove strength. Stopping had. Because in space, the bravest decision is sometimes to admit the body has reached its limit, and ignoring that limit can cost far more than a delayed objective. Recovery came slowly, not dramatic, not immediate, just gradual return of clarity and control. The body responded to rest the way it always does, quietly and on its own schedule. The astronaut felt capacity returning in small increments, each one a reminder that the human system repairs itself not through force but through patience. The mission resumed under adjusted expectations. Timelines were recalculated. Priorities were reordered. The remaining objectives were completed at a pace that respected the new understanding of what the crew member could safely sustain. Officially, the incident was minor, a temporary medical event, managed within protocol. No lasting impact. The mission report would note the interruption briefly, categorize it, and move on. But the lesson endured. Technology did not fail that day. Procedures did not break. Human limits simply asserted themselves before machines did. The spacecraft could have continued operating indefinitely. The body could not. And that asymmetry between machine endurance and human fragility is one of the most important variables in spaceflight, one that no amount of engineering can eliminate. This story matters because future missions will push humans harder than ever. Longer durations, greater isolation, fewer opportunities to rest. The demands on a human body will increase as missions extend beyond low Earth orbit and into deep space, where resupply is impossible and medical support is limited to what the crew can provide for themselves. The body will remain a variable no system can fully control. Acknowledging that is not weakness. It is engineering wisdom. It is a recognition that the most sophisticated mission plan in the world is only as resilient as a human being executing it. Designing missions that respect human limits is as critical as designing rockets that reach orbit. Both require precision. Both require honesty about constraints. Both require the humility to accept that some variables cannot be engineered away. Because the most advanced spacecraft ever built is still dependent on a fragile human inside it. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future. An